Welcome back here, folks, for another episode of The Corner, and we got Pipsky on the line. Hello, Pipsky.
Howdy.
Howdy. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's kind of hot out here.
All right.
My time.
Yeah, it is pretty hot in Central Europe this time. I think I read that it is actually getting warmer. You know that they have adjusted for that. It is now on average. Average global temperature is like 1 or 1.5 degrees Celsius higher than what it usually was 10 years ago.
Yep, global warming, climate change.
Yeah.
Freezing in Texas and hot as heck in Australia or in Alaska, the place up north.
Indeed. And it is also creating more and more extreme weather. Which is which is also why we're going to see like more of these like freak. You did like hear or see the news about the floodings in Germany?
I have seen them.
And Belgium,
yes.
Yeah.
We actually just missed that rain. It just missed us on the way there.
Yeah, like what surprised me about it was that they were actually warned about that it was going to happen, but like in Central Europe, we are not used to these like kind of like flash storms because that's what happened. Apparently, like the sky was. Not a cloud on the sky and sunny and shining, and then suddenly like boom, flooded with black skies and pouring down rain. Pretty crazy.
Super crazy.
Yeah.
That happened in Budapest a couple years ago too.
Yeah, and it's going to happen more frequently. Like per now, like the only where I have seen flash storms like this happening. Has been like near the equator in what is it called? The island of Borneo, the jungle there and stuff, right? I've seen flash storms like that happening there. You know, like during monsoon season.
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Then it will be like spotless and not a cloud on the sky, and then suddenly boom, raining. So yeah, kind of like freaky that's like coming up to Europe as well now. These flash storms. Yeah. Like what I think like is insane that doesn't change is that hours after the water starts receding, right? Or not even hours, then bandits and gangs come on boats or whatever, to loot stores, and I can't figure out like is that where human nature is at right now?
I mean, a lot of people all over the globe are really struggling when like 1% of the population on planet Earth has a majority of the capital and control the labor force. It's an issue.
Yeah, but like, do you think that these are people that are struggling, that are robbing during natural catastrophe?
I mean, it's not like they're showing up in yachts to steal things. They're showing up in like rowboats and little boarded things. And,
yeah, of course.
So, yeah, usually, I mean, crime is usually committed because someone is struggling, typically.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I would also like think that natural disasters such as that also like increases the feeling one would feel and desperacy for these things that they're already struggling to get, right?
Yeah.
And we saw the same thing during Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. many years ago, where it was also like shortly after it had hit. Then it was again like looting by bandits and people robbing other people by gunpoint because they knew that like no police is going to show up anyways. Yeah, pretty crazy, but desperate times, I guess.
Indeed.
Now, like, I don't know, like what I was going to ask. What are your thoughts about the corona pandemic so far, and what would be your next vacation target if you could travel?
I've traveled a lot, so if I get to travel again, it's like, okay, that's cool, but I'm not really like, I need to travel now, I'm done, I did it, I saw it, we're good, But
Yeah.
I think for coronavirus, I said this towards the beginning when they were starting to do lockdowns. I think we have until like 2022. In 2022, people are going to start saying this is enough. Like you could already see there's like protests and stuff happening with different lockdowns and people calling for mandatory vaccinations. And I think in 2022, if they continue this, it's only going to get worse. Like people are tired of being told that you have to do all this stuff and you do all this stuff and you're still going to be struggling.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. It's kind of ironic because this is what some of the big banks projected in this year's early projections. They were saying that like people are going to open up, or governments are going to open up prematurely and celebrate prematurely, and like bring everything back online, bring companies back online and all that, and that we're going to have a boom year of 2021. And then 2022, then it's going to hit us right back in the face, like a gun backfiring or something, because then we're going to have more lockdowns, like you're talking about here, and we're going to be like, oh shit, maybe we shouldn't have done that, and that we celebrated too soon, and then we're going to see like an economic setback again next year. For instance, with what was it? With like, imagine like how many millions or possibly billions of dollars are already being owed in back rent in the United States.
Oh yeah, for sure.
By landlords that had to, like had no other choice but to say like, yeah, okay, I can wait. Yeah, okay, I can wait. And the month after that, yeah, I can wait, right?
Yeah, I've always said the best renters you can get are the people that are actually on government assistance, the people that have Section 8 in the US, because it's guaranteed income from them and you will absolutely get your rent,
Yeah, of course, because then you have a secured income line, right? You have a secured cash flow. But yeah, like this is first going to hit back next year, right? Because like it is a lot being owed, and I don't know, like there hasn't been like that many evictions yet, but I remember it being on the news that there was like a potential 40 million new homeless people in America due to this like back rent being owed and stuff, right? And people just want people out, like they don't care if like they're throwing out whole families because they want somebody in to rent their properties that can actually pay. And I don't know, like to me, it seems like kind of like weird that there wouldn't be some kind of like insurance against that. That a landlord could pay some kind of like insurance to be like, okay, my renter isn't paying money, but I have insurance in case this happens. So blah, 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 blah. I get my money.
Yeah. I don't know if there is anything that can actually cover that other than like Section 8 automatically covers it. I thought it was very interesting that the government chose to, I thought it was, they do it in Hungary. In the United States, they're now giving every person that has a child $300 for every single child. And then I think when they turn 6, they get $250 every month.
Man, like this surprised the hell out of me because, like this is a common thing in Western Europe.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That we get uh, I don't like what to call it, like child support. No, yes,
But
like
in Hungary,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
What?
In Hungary, it's based on the kid has to go to school. Like if they don't go to school, you don't get it. They have
Yeah,
to have a certain amount of days or whatever.
yeah. I think like that. That's like goes for here too. I'm not like completely sure, but I do know that. I do know that like we do get money for like I have a 2-year-old child, and I don't know like how much we get. Like we get something like $800 or $900 or so every third month or so every quarter.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Hungary also
it,
does something that like
but
you can get a loan for $12,000 if you have a kid and then or if you promise to have a kid and then once you have the kid the loan is like okay it's you don't owe it back but if you don't actually have a kid you have to pay the loan back which is kind
wow,
of interesting. Yeah, you can get up to
okay,
$36,000 in total for 3 kids and if a woman has a fourth child she no longer has to pay income tax.
wow, that is surprising.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, here's another thing that like I think like is surprising regarding that. You know, I know that in the United States, if you have a child, right, and you're like giving birth to it, like you got to stay home, right, to take care of this child. But do you get any government support for staying at home with the kid? Bec-
It depends largely on your income bracket.
yeah,
So
because
the
like
first 3 years are the most important, but
yeah,
in terms of like, let's say you make, I don't know, minimum wage or whatever it is, $2,000 a month, 20,000 something. It's under $36,000 a year that you're making. So most people can't even afford, a 1 bedroom apartment. But if you're making over a certain amount, I want to say it's like 26,000. It's really low. If you're making over $26,000 a year or something ridiculous, then you cannot get help from the government. You can't get food stamps. You can't get it. You have to be either A, lie, which happens a lot, or B, like really be like super poverty stricken, like on the streets kind of stuff,
yeah,
in
and
order
this
to get help from the government.
this like surprised the hell out of me because like in translation, that means that either A, you need to be a very wealthy person or in a very wealthy family, or B, your husband either needs to earn a lot of money or you need to earn a lot of money, and one of you have to stay at home, right?
Yeah, because even like daycare and childcare is crazy expensive too, unless you
Yeah,
have family.
yeah. And that is like
And
just so surprising because like, I thought like, wow, shouldn't there be something like welfare there to help out?
yeah, no, it's crazy. And then it's also, the prison system in the United States completely screws family too, because you can get put in prison for having a gram of weed. Or if you're being held up in court, there have been people that have been in prison for 5 years because they can't make bail. And oh, yeah, they're innocent.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah,
It's
it
totally
is.
nuts.
It's crazy, and like I saw this YouTube video yesterday where a guy was like talking about how Europe's prison system is a rehabilitation system. Like they put people in prison with focus on rehabilitating them and therapy, and like
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
and
Unless they're like super horrible,
for
then
instance,
personally they should just die, in my opinion.
yeah. For instance, like in Germany, they have like the option to work in prisons, probably like the same as in America, right? But they make some coin on this, and the prison will actually put 300-400 euros or something if it wasn't more. I think like it was more like 1,000 euros or so of their salary aside on a separate account, so they have the money to put down for a deposit on an apartment when they get out of prison. They're helping them transition, right?
That should be the objective. Is
Yeah,
we want a good, nice, kind empathetic society. So if we're sending someone to prison, it should be to either rehabilitate them or remove them forever away from society, you know?
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
these people are
definitely.
coming back to society, they need to know how to work in society.
Definitely, they need to
We live in
know,
a
like
society.
how to adapt to society again. But most likely, like in America, then you are freaking dependent on that you have family or friends that you can stay at when you come out of prison. If you don't, well, then you're on your own. You're homeless, and you are right back at it. Before you know it, you're probably like stealing or boosting cars to support yourself.
Yeah, a lot of times these guys end up living with people that were also in prison with them but got out earlier.
Yeah, yeah, pretty crazy, and like just an evil circle since there is no there is a very slight window there of like being able to come out on the right side of that, right?
Yeah,
Um,
it's rough.
yeah, but yeah, like back to like child support and stuff. Here in Denmark and Norway and Scandinavia in general, for instance, if you're working then and you get a kid, then you have the full right of staying at home with your child for 12 full months paid. The work actually have to pay you. It's I don't
I agree with
think
that.
I don't think like it is a full salary, like, but I think like it's like 80% or 75% off your full salary since you're staying at home. But still, I think like that's a good deal, you
I
know?
agree, but I know in Romania they have that sort of system too. That I think it should be based on the business type too, personally, because I've seen people in Romania at least get a job, a well-paying job, and then a surprise, by the way, I'm pregnant, and then you hired this person for this position, and now you have to pay them like three-quarters of their salary every single month, and then they quit immediately after that time is up, after like 2 years or whatever it is. So, and it's like a small business. They can do this to small businesses, and it completely screws a small business. If you have like, I don't know, under 20 people working for you, like, nah, I don't know. I think there should be some other kind of like government assistance for that. The
Yeah,
business shouldn't be responsible.
yeah. Like Romania isn't like totally great in that aspect. Um, but I mean, like they're trying, they're getting there. But then again, like Romania is not like one of the most richest European countries.
You know why that is? What they did, these geniuses, they decided to pay off all of their national debt. It's the only country that ever paid off all of its national debt. Like zero. They had zero national debt at one point. That's what fucked them.
Wow, that's what like oh man, like that's
There's some
ironic,
economics
like
for you.
that's economics for you. Like paying off all your debt and like it ends up screwing you then
Oh yeah.
anyways. Yeah, weird shit. Um, okay, then let me ask you: of all the places you have been in the world, what was your favorite place?
Hong Kong. I really liked Hong Kong.
Why?
Hong Kong is it's just, I wouldn't live there, but it's just vibrant and beautiful, and the people there were just nice and funny, and everything there was interesting. Like they have bars that like you go in the bar, and I didn't realize this when I was in the bar. I think it was called Monkey Joe's or something like that. And you're sitting in the bar, whatever, it looks like a jungle. And when the sun goes down, the wall opens up, and now the street is also part of the bar. What? It's crazy. It's totally nuts. Like, and they have like I'm not gonna say the name of the place because I don't know, whatever. But there is a mall in Hong Kong that is straight up just a black market. Like this is how I imagined a black market was when I was a child, not like, shady internet dealings and meeting behind back alleys, but it's a mall. And all of these places have like stuff signs Velcro stuck to the walls, and they're like selling CDs and Gucci bags and all this like rip off stuff. And like there was one where you put like I want to get a PlayStation CD, and you point at the wall like a picture of the game that you want, And then a guy knocks on the ceiling, and some dude in the ceiling like takes the list of the games you want. And he says, "Okay, come back in 5 minutes," and they burn the discs for you. And then you come back and you get the discs.
Wow.
Yeah. And like they have these dragon police or whatever that parole the mall. And if the cops, the real cops, show up, they like radio all the stores, and the stores rip down all the Velcro signs and close all the stuff. And there's just a couple like legit stores in there, you know? It's crazy. Hong Kong's
That's sophisticated.
good food and good people, and just it's great. I love Hong Kong.
Yeah, Hong Kong is a popular place for sure. Going to be interesting to see in the future if they're going to be part of China or not.
I don't know. I hope they manage to fight that good fight and win.
You know, like to me, it seems like they have waited and then seen that, like, well, Russia took Crimea without pretty much any repercussions. Couldn't we just do the same with Hong Kong? But then again, like a lot of the Crimea population was already Russian, so I don't think like they minded that much. But goddamn, like it would be devastating to the Asian financial markets if China gained control of Hong Kong again, since Hong Kong is like one of the free. You know, when you buy stocks, especially in China, you would go through Hong Kong, right? Because in Hong Kong, you're actually able to get your money out again. But if you buy stocks like in Shanghai on the Chinese stock, like the Chinese equivalent of like Wall Street, you can forget about getting your money out, you know, like out of the country. They stay in China. That's why Hong Kong is such an importance to, you know, like financial free port of trade in Asia. Anyways, very interesting stuff.
That is pretty interesting.
So yeah, like a lot of people like are wondering like what's going to happen with that. And you know, like I don't know if you've like paid attention to like financial news lately, but China has been under the gun with tech stocks because the Communist Party that rules China, they don't know or haven't agreed yet on like how to deal with the rapid growing tech companies in China. And that's like why in the entire week the tech stocks in China and mainly Asia has been falling because of this uncertainty. I don't know, like what else is there to like talk about today? I know we are only on, well, it's Wednesday/Thursday. But what is the most interesting thing that happened to you this week?
The most interesting.
I know,
I don't think I really do that much interesting stuff.
I know, like it's a question that like takes people off guard, but you know, like you gotta like think about it like that. Anything can be interesting. You like you might have like walked, taken a hike or something, and looked in the pavement and felt like, wow, that's an interesting crack in the pavement, or wow, I saw a bird or an eagle today or something, right?
Well, like this, the new Discord thread idea.
Discord
Have you
thread?
seen that?
No. What is it?
While you're having a conversation in a main thread in Discord, you can click on, hover over, or hold down on your phone to create a thread, and it creates a sub-thread, like a separate thing underneath that particular thread, so you can have a separate conversation. So if two people are talking over each other and there's not like congruent conversation, you can just take your conversation to a different thread, and then that thread will vanish after 24 hours.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's clever because I think a lot of people were complaining about, well, not a lot, just a few people I was talking to didn't really like that they felt like they had to figure out what was going on in whatever thread. And this can say, I can just pull this particular thing and we can have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
You don't have to read
Oh.
back 1,000 things.
Oh, that's weird. That's very smart. Interesting. Wow. Well, I don't know. Like to me, it's not been like that interesting of a week. My windshield of my car broke.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah, so that's gonna be like a couple of $100 or more to fix. Sour
What
money.
happened?
I was driving by. I was driving back behind a truck on the highway, and I got like a small rock flung into the windshield, and that turns into a small hole. But because like this was one of the days where it was like extremely hot, right? So then So then when I turn my engine off after having it parked, and like it starts cooling down, hot and cold, and then when I get back out, the damn windshield is cracked.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So unrepairable and has to be replaced.
That's
So
a bummer.
That's a bummer. But, like these things happen, and
Yeah,
the
that actually
most
happens a lot in Maryland.
it does, right? Like you think like it's a general thing, like for everywhere. But like the sour thing was that I realized after, like shit, I don't have it on my insurance because like at first I called the insurance agency and asked if I got insurance, and they said like yeah sure, like you only have to pay like $100. And then I call, like to set up an appointment, and like these glass or like windshield changer companies, they double check the insurance policy, like for you, and they say like I don't have the insurance, so I call back, and turns out that the woman that I was talking to had no clue what she was talking about,
Oh,
and
man.
I didn't have the insurance anyways, and I was like what shit. And like then like I just asked like on the off chance that I will certainly get this insurance. What does it cost me? Not much. An extra $5 a month. God damn, should have
Yeah.
checked that earlier. Like because it's only like $5 a month. But now I have learned my lesson. But yeah, these things happen. The second most interesting thing, though, or maybe the most interesting thing, is that I finished reading the entire 3 books of the Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and
You like it?
I did like it because like when I watched the movies, I didn't realize it. But like reading the books, and then this like Latin phrase comes up, something like panem et circenses or something, right? I don't know how you pronounce it in Latin, but it means bread and circuses. And it's like kind of like crazy when you think about it, because like then I started looking into it, and then you see that the Hunger Games books is largely based on how the ancient Roman Empire was built up. That you would have the big capital of Rome, right? Where all the rich and all the money goes to, with the ultimate entertainment of the Colosseum, where gladiators were fighting to the death, right? And then all these poor districts around, or districts around surrounding Rome, were, like pretty much just to give most of their money to Rome to supplement this. Kind of crazy, right?
That is interesting.
And, and then like thinking about that, and then you see that like shit, like the real thing was like way more worse than what fictional or what a real Hunger Games would be like, because in the real world, 500,000 slaves and gladiators died in the arena of the Colosseum through as long time as it existed or was being operated. That's nuts, right? 500,000
nuts,
people.
yeah.
But then, then the exact same thing happened in Rome. Eventually, like just as in Hunger Games, there was an uprising, and people wouldn't tolerate this kind of living, and the whole empire collapsed. So yeah, have you read the books?
I have not read the books.
But you have seen the movies?
Only seen the movies.
Like,
I listen to people complain that the books are better than the movies, as it typically is,
The books are darker, way darker than what the movies are. But it's understandable because when they made the movies, then they made it, like PG-13. While the books are it's like the real deal with no sugarcoating, and they're talking about how the victors of the Hunger Games was actually used as sex slaves and shit in the Capitol, and threatened by President Snow that you don't comply with this, you don't comply with that, we'll just have your whole family killed and so on. Pretty dark stuff. I don't know. Like that was like kind of like the final thing that I had. Do you have like anything to add on your mind? Environment, corona-wise, world-wise, global-wise, universe-wise, anything?
I think I would like to see video games be more proactive in putting environmental concerns in their games. Because like games like Animal Crossing, they could easily, like, there's some things in Animal Crossing that you can't sell, you have to throw away. But they could make it, if you recycle it, you get like 2 cents back or whatever, It's like simple little, like, you bring your car in GTA to recycling and you get something back from it, rather than just leaving it on the street.
In the old old GTA games like GTA 1 and GTA 2, you could actually sell your cars to the junkyard. But with like these newer ones, there's like only like a certain type of cars and a list of cars that you can't sell. But yeah, like in the older ones, you could actually sell every car, any car. Even if it was just $100, you could still sell it to the junkyard, and then a crane would just come and take it. I don't know, like why they haven't like started focusing on that yet, but maybe it will come in the future. I don't think so though, because I don't think that the major league players in the game developing world cares a lot about protecting the environment.
I think they do. I think everyone has a little piece of them that wants to protect the planet,
Yeah, a little piece, but it's everybody like has a little piece, but maybe this will become like more adjacent in the future, Like it's. Have you played Red Dead Redemption 2?
I have not played it. I have watched bits and pieces though.
Like when you ride on your horse and you are eating a can of something, like just like chugging down like a can of beans or whatever, your character just throws the can away in the wild or like wherever you are. And if you're drinking a beer bottle or a whiskey bottle, the character just throws the bottle away somewhere after you've finished drinking it. But I mean, like, that is realistic though, because like there wasn't any environmental concerns in the 1890s. Not even in the 1970s was it a lot of like environmental concerns. So like this crazy video on like how to recycle from the 1970s or something. That was like either Norwegian or Swedish. But it's about this family on a boat or something in like a small rowboat having like a picnic, right? And then the commercial from the 1970s would say like, and remember the ocean is clean, so you can throw your trash in the ocean. And then cuts to the family father throwing everything in the ocean.
Pro strat, trust.
Yeah. But 1970s, right? And then 1980s and then 1990s. I guess like it's first now that that the environmental changes and weather changes are like actually, like saying something, and people have to and governments have to be like, shit, we got to do something, right? But you see that's happening right now with the world governments are wanting us to have the green shift, be more electric, be more clean, recycle more.
Yeah.
But
I like it.
yeah, but we still like have a ways to go. Like for instance, with like electric cars, you still need to drive an electric car 5 years before it starts to be like clean energy, considering the pollution it takes to create the batteries of electric cars.
I think that's a lot of environmentalists don't really consider that, like
Yeah,
what goes into making a solar panel.
yeah. What goes into making a solar panel? What goes into making an electric car battery? But definitely something that there's going to be focus on in the future. And yeah, I just want to say like thank you for coming online, Pipsy.
It's always my pleasure.
And to anyone listening to this or are finding this remotely interesting, please comment and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. And have a nice night, Pipsy.
You too.